Yo, the old man was pissed. Oh my God. I don't know that we can get this done, but as long as I have breath in me, I'm gonna fight. Okay, so what? Do we have until the end of business day on Friday or what? This old bastard is going to be licking his wounds all weekend, and I swear to God, if he's not already on Marine One, Air Force One, wherever the fuck takes him back up to Delaware for the weekend, he's going to be on it early tomorrow morning after he gets his fucking customary 17 hours of sleep. But yeah. Like I said, not yesterday, in the previous video, this was another one of those fucking big old fat L's Biden had to deal with. Listen, the legislature, the Supreme Court now, they just keep handing them out over and over again. So I think the tone and tenor for 2022 is going to be desperation, because the sand in which the foundation of this administration was built in 2020, it is quickly eroding around it, and everybody seems to be jumping ship, and the people that are trying to restaff this ship are very old names. But we're going to be talking about them, I think, on Saturday, Sunday, one of those days. It's a rather short lady with a very menacing cackle, very suicide-inducing cackle. Anyways, let's talk about this. Agitated Biden accepts defeat on voting rights after Senator Sinema aligned with Manchin and blew up his bid to kill the filibuster. No shit. Imagine that. Anyways, President Joe Biden on Thursday conceded he doesn't know how voting rights legislation will be passed without Sinema and Manchin on board, but vowed as long as I have breath in me, he will fight. Well, you can't. This isn't voting rights legislation. This is a federalization of all elections. Okay, this is a huge overreach of states' rights. It's just another one of those pieces of Biden's radical agenda that was always likely to fail. Okay, it looks good on paper, it looks great to his base, but it's just not tenable in reality, and unfortunately that's the only thing that really matters. I don't know how we're going to get it done, but one thing I know, if you still have breath in me, cool, whatever. Biden spent a little over an hour meeting with Senate Democrats on Capitol Hill, but left without a clear path forward to pass a massive federal package of voting legislation, which would make Election Day a holiday, tightening campaign finance laws, and adjust the redistricting process. Yeah, because Democrats keep losing states in their very deeply blue districts because, like Nancy Pelosi says, elections have consequences. But yeah, there's one aspect of that I actually agree with, so that you'd have better than 60% turnout. Make Election Day a holiday. I think that would be fine, okay? And then, yes, the only ballots that count are the ones that come in on Election Day. But that was nowhere in any of those fucking stupid pieces of legislation. Tighten campaign finance laws. We went over that, oh God, it's months ago at this point, if not maybe even a year ago at this point. But what they're calling for is that you can only have so much of a contribution to a political candidate, but then the federal government can match up to a certain amount. It's absolutely absurd. It once again federalizes campaigns as well as elections. And redistricting, for the reasons that I'm saying, it's like, okay, blue states and blue areas keep getting smaller because you keep pushing people out because the 2020 census really sucked for you, along with many other terrible things as well, like no voter laws or no voter ID laws because they're racist or something like that. I don't know what the current NPC update is. We missed this time, Biden conceded after Democrat efforts to fight the law past the GOP-controlled states. Oh, we missed this time, and the state legislative bodies continue to change the law. No, just to codify the ones that are already on the books. That's about it, really. And literally every other country around the world has some kind of a voter ID law. Like, okay, recently to vote in the federal election up here in Canada, I had to show up with the voter card that I got in the mail. And then I also had to provide my driver's license in order to verify that I'm who I am. It's what everybody else had to do. So why is that racist? Oh, okay. It's different. It's different when you're a Democrat. His voice grew louder as he repeated his phrase, definitely not a sign of Alzheimer's or dementia. Count the vote. Count the vote. It's about election subversion. Just whether or not people get to vote. Because that's our job. Biden made the personal appearance to lobby Democrats on voting rights legislation, but his plea may come in vain after Sinema made it clear that she will not support to kill the filibuster. Yeah, she's actually been fairly solid on that one, and it doesn't even require any astroturfed protesters to follow her into the bathroom. Clear that the two-party strategies are not working, not for either side, and especially not for the country, Sinema said in a 19-minute speech on the Senate floor before meeting with Biden. Two-party strategy? No, one just doesn't really know what the fuck they're doing, and the other one knows exactly what they're doing, and it kind of subverts the whole democratic process, so I wouldn't necessarily say that you're onto something there, box wine mom. Damn it. Just like Kirsten Sinema, the peroxide is just getting to my head, I guess. Her decision essentially killed Democratic efforts to pass voting legislation, despite the procedural gamble from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and the heavy lobbying from Biden, and the impassioned plea from Barack Hussein Obama, who just won't fuck off already. Republicans praised her for saving the Senate. Well, Joe Manchin did too, but he was actually more vocal, and nobody's trying to fuck him in the Senate. Just the Democrats. Ha ha ha. Manchin, who also opposes killing the filibuster and is really the only vote that's really needed, said Biden gave a very passionate, very good speech, but wouldn't say whether or not his mind has been changed. No, it doesn't appear to be. The president gave an extremely, very passionate, very good speech. It was very human, which is very odd for Biden. It is very touching. Oh, that's very much like Biden. It was very good. It was very historical. It's almost like I heard it somewhere before, but that's not like Joe. The senator from West Virginia said, but Biden apparently didn't win him over. After the meeting, Manchin released a lengthy statement, ladies, on why he would not vote to kill the filibuster. I will not vote to eliminate or weaken the filibuster. The filibuster plays an important role in protecting our democracy from the transitory passions of the majority and respecting the input of the minority in the Senate. Yeah, exactly. Because eventually, whatever party he ends up with, because who knows, independent, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Whig, whatever fucking party he ends up with at the end of the year, eventually, he's going to be needing that filibuster, given enough time. At least he's one of the people who isn't, just campaigning and thinking that everything's going to come to the end at the end of the year. That's why there's so many of them fucking retiring, because they're like, oh, the jig's up. Anyways, ending the filibuster would be the easy way out. I cannot support such a perilous course of this nation when elected leaders are sent to Washington to unite our country by putting politics and party aside. It is time we do the hard work to forge difficult compromises that stand the test of time and deliver on the promise of a brighter tomorrow for all Americans. Thanks, Joe. Really had some fucking quality cliched input there. In a closed-door meeting, Biden spoke for about 15 minutes before he fell asleep and then took questions, including some from Manchin. According to Democratic Senator Tim Kaine, I was on the ballot with Hillary Clinton. Hopefully I will be again in 2024. I can't wait. I can't fucking wait. At least 15 senators asked questions or spoke, engaged, and back and forth. If he was only there for 15 minutes... Okay, and 15 senators were talking, and we all know how verbose elected officials are. How much did Joe actually say? And how tired did he look afterwards? That's what I want to know. And considering how many lawsuits Biden's got recently, he should consider one of his own against his plastic surgeon, because fuck does he look unnatural. Schumer, after the meeting, praised Biden for coming, but declined to say what the next steps are. He needs all 50 Democratic senators on board to proceed, with Sinema and Manchin saying no to killing filibuster. And Senator Brian Schatz quarantining after a positive COVID test. Schumer is down to 47 votes. Yeah, so it really does suck to suck. But what did old Cocaine Mitch have to say on this one? Well, I heard a speech from Kirsten Sinema. She delivered that 18-minute speech, and she saved the Senate and called her speech an act conspicuous of political courage. She's not going to polish your shell, Mitch, okay? Just fucking calm down a bit. And have you seen her voting record? About as blue as her hair. She saved the Senate as an institution. Yeah, whatever. Schumer didn't comment on Sinema, but Dick Durbin. Oh my god, speaking of somebody putting their surname in their mouth, or given name, god damn it, second joke I fucked up. The number 2 in the Senate Democrat leadership said he was disappointed but not surprised in Sinema. Yeah, no shit. Why did you try to do this anyways? You just figured, oh, these guys who were like, no, filibuster, we're going to keep it around for as long as we have to say. And it's like, well, we're going to need you to go ahead and shirk your responsibilities. It just, you're a Democrat, right? And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. And they're like, oh, fuck, we're disappointed but not surprised. Okay. In her remarks, Sinema decried the dismissive politics in the nation and said, I don't care, you're a fucking phony. She said, given even 50-50 split in the Senate, Democrats need to get buy-in from Republicans to pass legislation. Yeah, that's normally what it means there. It's almost like you got to work together. And it's almost like that's what Joe Biden campaigned on. But again, that was a long time ago for Joe. He can't remember that far back. Called the end of the filibuster a guardrail that protects the political center. Oh yes, you're one of these enlightened centrists now all of a sudden. Cool, now that you have the spotlight on you. Hopefully it's just got a wide angle on it. But there's actually something else that has bipartisan support out there, okay? So, yeah, voting rights in big fucking quotation marks, yeah, that's going to die, okay? It was already done, okay? They could force it through the House because they have a 5-seat fucking lead for the Democrats over there. But it's a little bit more difficult to get through the Senate. It sucks to suck. But there's something that does have some power, and I've been meaning to talk about this for a minute because it's been very tenuous and it's something that I've mentioned a lot, okay? Ever since I was made aware of it, I was like, what the fuck that's a real thing? Well, it is, okay? Elected officials are allowed to basically insider trade. They can't be prosecuted for it, okay, because they control the levers in which really affects the economy at any given time, considering they're allowed to purchase stocks in their own private life, knowing what legislation is coming down the pipe, knowing when all of this stuff is going to happen. They have an unfair advantage when it comes to working the stock market. And finally, a good old senator there, Josh Hawley. Well, old is not really a fair description. I think the dude is like maybe 40. But there was also another voice from the other side of the aisle who actually supported this. I seen him as Jon Ossoff, okay? One who looks like a substitute teacher who was just elected, and he's got the full term in Georgia. He's not Raphael Warnock, the old fucking wife puncher, who's going to be up for election, and he's going to have to go up against Herschel Walker. Oof, that's a... Hopefully it's not a foot race, hopefully it's not a weightlifting competition, and hopefully it's not a popularity contest because, oh my brother, it's gonna suck to be him. And you don't have the ease of running against that straw-haired fucking harpy. Oh my god, what was her name? She run in the think tank in Georgia. It really doesn't much matter. Kelly something or other. Who gives a shit? Fucking failure. Rhino failure. But yeah, I seen David Perdue, the guy who failed against Jon Ossoff. He put it in his papers to also run for that vacant Senate seat, which, yeah, Herschel Walker's definitely going to get because he's already got Trump's endorsement, and that means fucking gold. But whatever. That's not central to what we're going to be talking about here. It's, yeah, finally come to the attention of the public that insider trading is happening in the U.S. Capitol, and enough people are like, yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid, so we probably should put an end to it. So it's going to become patently obvious, depending on how this ends up getting voted on, who likes to have their coffers stuffed a little bit more than what's on the record by Wall Street. All members of Congress and their spouses would be banned from trading individual stocks under new proposals introduced earlier this week by one Republican and 2 Democrat senators. Oh, interesting. Year after year, politicians somehow manage to outperform the market, buying and selling millions in stocks of companies they're supposed to be regulating. Wall Street and big tech work hand in hand with elected officials to enrich each other at the expense of their country, said Senator Josh Hawley in a statement announcing introduction of his proposed Banning Insider Trading in Congress Act. It cuts straight to the point. There's no catchy slogan. It's not like the Trade Back Better program. It's just, no, insider trading stupid. Don't let elected officials do it. You'll love to see it. Here's something we can do. Ban all members of Congress from trading stocks and enforce those who do to pay their proceeds back to the American people. Ooh, that sucks. It's time to stop turning a blind eye to Washington profiteering. Yep. Introducing legislation aimed at stopping insider trading by members of Congress and their spouses are Democratic Senators Chairman Mark, trying to attach to this very popular proposition because he also has a special election coming up in, well, I guess it's the full term for that seat coming up in 2022, so he needs to do something. And Jon Ossoff of Georgia called the Banned Congressional Stock Trading Act. In his statement, Hawley said the major provisions of his proposal include a prohibition on holding, acquiring, or selling stocks or related economic interests while serving in Congress. Exempted from the prohibition are interests in diversified mutual funds, exchange-traded funds, or U.S. Treasury bonds. I'm not a financial expert, not even by a long shot, okay? But the only one that kind of makes sense is the U.S. Treasury bonds because you're investing in America. Theoretically, well, that's basic. That's the layman's interpretation of it. So I can understand why there'd be a carve-out exemption for that one. Senators and representatives have 6 months after being sworn into office to get rid of prohibited holdings or to place them in a blind trust. The blind trust must be maintained throughout their tenure in office. Fair enough, fair enough. In the Senate or House Ethics Committee determines that an individual member has profited illegally on the prohibited stock or related economic interest, the gain must be turned over to the U.S. Treasury. The losses on such transactions may not be claimed on taxes, and ethical committees may levy additional fines. The violation may be made public via the internet. Who wrote fucking super boomer language there? Government Accountability Office, GAO, beginning 2 years after the enactment of the proposal, is required to audit the compliance status of all 535 members of Congress to make the findings public. All right. Kelly Ossoff proposal is similar to Hawley's and includes provisions, according to the statement issued by the 2 senators. Oh, were they kissing when they... Kelly Ossoff, that sounds like the fucking dumpy cheerleader that everybody got to blow them behind the bleachers during the state championship. Requiring all members of Congress and their spouses and dependent children to put certain investments into qualified blind trust and divest them within 120 days of enacting this legislation. So they're actually calling on like the kids as well. Okay, new members of Congress and their spouses and dependent children would be required to do the same within 120 days of assuming office. And also, yeah, they're just saying get your shit together in 4 months' time as opposed to 6. It's weird. I actually like this proposal a little bit better. Covered investments that cannot be moved into a blind trust must be divested. Same deal. Okay. Prohibits members, their spouses, dependent children from personally acquiring covered interests in the member's proposed period of service. Same deal, just with that child clause, including reporting requirements to ensure accountability and public visibility into the holdings of the member's blind trust. Same thing. House and Senate ethics committees must make publicly available key documents, including copy of each blind trust agreement, the schedule of assets transferred into each trust. So yeah, they just want to know all the transactions that are in there. Clarifies the treatments of inheritances. Oh, okay. Inheritances that are covered investments must be divested and placed into a blind trust. Oh, okay, cool. So if they receive anything during that time, it also has to get deferred to the blind trust. Okay, makes sense. The 2 proposals come in response to recent revelations that at least 54 members of Congress in some manner violated a law intended to prevent profiting on stock trades made as a result of having insider information, not available to the general public. Again, that's not a crime because they're allowed to do it. That's why they have to pass this legislation. Senators Dianne Feinstein in her dying days, for example, reportedly was 5 months late in reporting a large investment made by her husband. Similarly, Senator Rand Paul, was 16 months late in reporting that his wife had purchased stock in a firm that manufactures a treatment of, the COOF, which is also known as, the novel coronavirus. Interesting. Was that a part of your Festivus report, Rand? God damn it. Nancy Pelosi's probably the biggest offender, and when she was asked about the 54 members of Congress that should comply to the stock law's reporting requirements, she said she opposes varying stock trading by senators and representatives. I like to make money. This job wouldn't be so good without the perks involved. Such transactions were first made illegal in 2012 by the passage of the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act of 2012. Really looks like it's worked, huh? That law was prompted by revelations in the book written by anti-corruption crusader Peter Schweitzer, president of the Government Accountability Institute. Among the incumbent politicians exposed by Schweitzer's book was Pelosi. After Schweitzer appeared on 60 Minutes and elsewhere in the media, Congress quickly passed the stock law. And again, what happens if you transgress that law? Well, you just got to go ahead and, at your earliest convenience, apparently, just hand over your records to that committee, and they'll just go ahead and go through them. So this one right here is calling for much stronger and much stricter guidelines for the congressional members to adhere to, which, hey, I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, if there's any wondering why Nancy Pelosi has several large estates to her name, Joe Biden lives in a multi-million-dollar mansion. If you don't want to take a look at foreign investments, then you know what, hey, insider trading, you might want to look into that, because even before 2012, take a look at the names that were still in those same halls and wonder why they were there for so long. If you aren't going to pass a term limits, well, you need to start cutting off these, well, frankly, illegal benefits that these people enjoy. But enough about politics. Let's talk about some cancel culture shit. And it's about something that I made an offhanded reference to yesterday at some point. Yeah, people are trying to cancel Joe Rogan again. And it's the same group of people that were a little bit more successful at taking down some stuff very early in the pandemic. So let's see what happens on this one, because this one might have some legs. Not that I'm rooting for it. No, definitely not. But more on that in a moment. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.